Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs fame did when he decided to join the opera. You know, opera singing like the late Luciano Pavarotti, Placido Domingo, or Josh Groban. Somehow, he just knew that there was a loophole he could use, because when you get your American Guild of Music Artists membership, that lets you buy your Screen Actors Guild card. That simple insight opened the door for him to what he really wanted, which was to get into the entertainment business. And the result is that You're listening to the Unshackle Your Life podcast with Debbie Colburn, the place to break through all of the hidden things that hold each of us back, things that scare us and things that challenge us, and things we're just plain fed up with. We talk all things money and business, big and small. We dive deep, we get real, and we get raw, discovering and exploring what is really possible for you. It's a restart. If you've ever struggled with shame, worry, or just plain self-doubt, if you've ever thought it's not enough when you looked at your bank account or your credit card, if you're sick and tired of living a cycle of crisis to crisis to crisis, no matter whether it's in your personal life, in your business, or your relationships, then this is where you need to be. We'll bring you new ideas, tips, and tactics, and connect you to the resources to get you unlocking your own shackles and release your unique abilities. No matter what's going on in your life right now, maybe you're in survival mode, just barely getting by, living day-to-day, paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're in a job or a career or running a business that is leaving you on empty, depleted, uninspired, or anything in between. I've got your back. Ready? So buckle on up, take a deep breath, and join me in a conversation about jump-starting your life and breaking free of your shackles and create that thing that you've been scared to ask for. Welcome to episode 88. It just seems the right time to start the conversation about what is possible for each one of us, because in reality, everything is possible. Nothing is truly impossible. You don't have to have all the pieces. Getting there is driven by your inner intentions. What we believe is possible for us. Beyond what we think we can do, there is a place some can't yet even imagine, let alone achieve. The land of impossible ideas. How many of you grew up with parents who answered your questions with "because I said so"? Are you shocked? Do you respond to your own kids that way as well? I know I did, until I realized how damaging it was to their imagination muscles. Have you ever asked yourself, when did I actually stop dreaming? And who are you blaming for that? For where you are today? For your lack of action? And why are you still blaming anyone? We all have self-imposed blinders that we put on as religiously as we put on our clothes, have a shower, wash our hair, take the dog out for a walk. Blinders that were reinforced since we were little by well-meaning relatives that kept telling us what we can't do over and over and over. I've struggled in my own life to remember a time when either of my parents, and I deeply love them, told me, go for it, or that I could do anything that I imagined. Sure, they'd say, you can do whatever you want, but that was always peppered with disdain, judgment, if it was not exactly what my dad thought was the right thing and the right way. And most times it was already off the rails at the right thing. Academia, unionized academia, and entrepreneurship rarely think in the same stratosphere. And almost all of my family, my parents, my aunts, my uncles, my sister, my cousins, are all in unionized academia. Those blinders can be labels that you were given the same way hand-me-downs were passed down. You didn't ask for them. They just thought you needed them. Yet blinders are not forever. They can be removed, and pretty easily. I'm dyslexic. Translation: I'm stupid because I'm different and can't learn in the traditional way. I'm a thinker. Translation: you're wasting your time on useless stuff. I grew up in a poor family. Translation: you don't deserve more. It's wrong to ask for what you want. I can never afford it. Are you getting the idea? They're sneaky little sons of bees. KD, Kraft Dinner, ramen noodles, the dinner for broke people and starving students, people of Walmart. Must I say more? The struggle that you are having imagining a bigger and a bolder future, writing down ideas, seeing beyond today, is a culmination of stories that your Velcro mind has adopted as truths. 8.3 billion people on planet Earth, and there are just 3 big lies that most of us tell ourselves. The words we use are slightly different for each of us, yet you will instantly relate to these. Blow up the 3 big ideas, smother yourself in evidence of their falsehood, and you will unlock that door to the impossible ideas. And when you turn the key in that door, just like Harry Potter, a powerful wizard living in a non-wizard world of muggles, did, you are changing who you think you are and who you believe you are. You are changing what you believe is possible for you. Number 1, I'm not smart enough to be successful. Can you see it? The excuses, the degrees, the certifications you don't have or don't have enough of, like that's a real thing. The people you put on pedestals who do, the opportunities to expand your knowledge you choose to avoid, the sibling that's the perfect one, it goes on and on. And they are all just you looking for evidence to support that belief. And believe me, there will always be lots of it around. For me, I'm a huge searcher of information because that's part of my unique ability. And I recognized a few years ago that there were times when I was actually doing that simply just to justify that big lie. Like the time I had 2 lawsuits against 4 of the biggest earners in the network marketing company that I have a small business in, Arbonne. Awesome, awesome vegan products. Love them, love them, love them. All network marketing companies have this type of lawsuit from people who are looking to make millions and not do any work, like 0 work. It's like a magic pill. And companies that are in integrity don't last. Arbonne's been around for 41 years. For me, though, I need to understand a company at a deep level. But this little exercise revealed itself as a sabotage, an excuse for me not to commit, not to believe in me, in what was possible for me. Number 2 is, I will fail, because the odds are stacked against me. For real, for many of us, it may seem that way. That is a story you are telling yourself. For real. For some of you, there may be a real stack of shit piled up that you have to find a way through, under, over, around, blast through. Cultural, systemic, monetary, physical, justice impacted, trauma, whatever. And this lie will leave you frozen, paralyzed, unable to make a decision, or to ultimately move forward, or left, or right. The secret is to deeply understand that there is a fundamental difference between failure and failing. Failing is critical for you. It's trying something, and if it doesn't work, and getting right back on, getting back at it, and trying a different approach, and keep on trying and testing and tweaking in the search for the path to a yes. Failure is giving up. Period. It is stopping and never trying anything else. Two very, very, very different things. And number three is, I don't have the resources to be successful. And I just have to give credit here for the wording of these three lies to Jay Samit, the author of Disrupt You. Can you see how this might be causing you to think something's impossible? Yeah, it's just more excuses again. I don't have the money. Don't have the budget for it. I can't get the funding. The banks won't loan me the money. My Wi-Fi is flaky. Facebook ads are so expensive. I can't find a job. I don't have a quiet place to work in my home. My credit cards are maxed out. I have no time. Just a trap. A test. Do you really, really want to do this thing? I don't know how to do the thing. I'm not techie. Tech hates me. Old me. I'm a classic accountant, left brain thinker. Not a chance I can create the images for my Instagram feed. Duh, Debbie. That's why the Fivers, the Upworks, the freelancer sites were started. That's why people sell templates. But they cost money I don't have. Shit, are you for real, Debbie? Damn, thinking loops. I've done it again. One excuse to the other. How long are you gonna sit there knowing that because you were buying into these three big lies that you couldn't help your son out when he really needed it? And by the way, the problems he's having, well, you know it's because he lived with you through his whole childhood under your piss-ass scarcity money thinking. Hello? Yep, that's exactly how they show up. Just like that. Did you know that in 2021, it takes 95% less capital to start a business than it did a decade ago? And I can tell you that is 100% for real. My summit business, my training business, cost me just shy of $75,000 to start. My online businesses, about $750. And that there are so many new ways to raise funds, like crowdfunding, the Kickstarters and the Indiegogo platforms, the Kivas. The bank of mom and dad is now probably the worst place you can turn. There are only two things essential to build a thriving business and a thriving life. Everything else can be freelanced, contracted out, or hired out. Yep, everything else. So what are those two things? You will never guess. It's so simple. Insight and drive. And of the two, insight can be the bigger challenge. Why? Because as I listen to people who've done the impossible, all of them cannot put into words how they knew to ask the questions they did or to take the actions that they did. Like Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs fame, when he decided to join the opera. You know, opera singing like the late Luciano Pavarotti and Placido Domingo or Josh Groban. Somehow, he just knew that there was a loophole he could use. Because when you get your American Guild of Music Artists membership, that lets you buy your Screen Actors Guild card, which then allows you to get into the union. That simple insight opened the door for him to what he really wanted, which was to get into the entertainment business. And the result is we've been blessed with hundreds of incredible adventures with him, getting down and dirty, really dirty. Check out his interview with Kelly Clarkson on her YouTube channel. Right? Me too. How the hell did he know that? And these guys can't tell you how they knew that and how they knew to do that. You check every single very successful person and you will see that there is one decision that is the key to unlocking the first door, and it is an insight. Insight is defined as the capacity to gain an accurate and deep intuitive understanding of a person or a thing. Key word, intuitive. And we all recognize that intuitive means that it might not be obvious, yet it just feels right, even if you have no proof of that. Insight is subtle. So for me, you need to start developing the skill of insight. Start leaning into it, even when it makes no sense, no logical sense. Can you see a pattern here? Remember back in some of the previous episodes where I've talked about listening to your gut or using your women's intuition or sixth sense as one of the key skills to building a successful business, a life of freedom? And the other piece is drive. Drive has many, many aliases. Passion, a big why, goal setter, you get the idea. Like a car. Drive is the gear that moves you forward when you put your foot on the gas pedal and take it off the brakes. With those two characteristics, insight and drive, activated, you are locked and loaded. Now, with that half an idea, just a sliver of one, that fully formed idea, the one that's ready to go to production, is absolutely not what you want. Why, you're asking? I see that all the time on Dragon's Den and Shark Tank. Why not? Because ideas crafted in a silo are a recipe for failure. Your team, your circle of people with different and unique perspectives will twist and test and bend and challenge it till it becomes a fully formed, viable idea that people will want to buy. A product or a service, a software, an app. It may well become something that never existed before, like Airbnb or Uber or a mobile phone. Remember the first ones of those? The big clunky brick that was a status symbol if you could even afford one or pay the astronomical monthly charges? That's why most ideas are tossed out of the den. Why people get validation so badly wrong. They don't truly understand because they've only got their own perspective. Believing that everything is possible means that you are constantly refining your understanding of how the world works. And more importantly, that you understand that the world is constantly changing. It's not called evolution for no reason. I'm 65, and I'm super stoked about the world today and about the future. The way it's changed in my lifetime, the openings that have been created, the things that we can do now that people just 25 years ago didn't even know were possible, and for what the future holds. It's banana nuts, and it's so exciting. It's almost so fast, it's incomprehensible. Yesterday is yesterday's news. It's done. And it's a jumping off point for each and every one of us. So where do you start? To start on your journey to the land of impossible ideas. If you're aiming at freedom, or more of it, in your life, money, business, relationships, time, or you define freedom as Jay Samit does, I never want to deal with assholes again, you'll need to become a master problem identifier and a solution starter. You need to start solving more and different problems for more people. You don't need to become the Tesla. You don't need to become the Amazon. You just need to start solving more and different problems for more people. You'll need to become more insightful. And, as I said before, that can be trained as a super skill. Where are some things in your life that you've just accepted that's the way it is? A phrase that's a trigger phrase for me is when I hear, it is what it is. Why is that a trigger? Because for most people, it's used as a form of resignation. They've given up on making any changes to it. It is a true symptom of a scarcity mindset, and I bet you've heard it in your family too. Are you in what you thought would be your dream job only to discover that you hate it? Or you're living month to month, or both? Damn! Because the dream that was pushed on you turned out to be an illusion of security. There's a problem. Write that down. Something in your job or in your day-to-day. That's the starting point in the world of problems. First in your day-to-day life, in your business, then in the world, little ones. Ones that your family, your friends, or your colleagues mention. Walk into Starbucks? Ever wonder why their Mastrena espresso machines are the height they are? Well, next time, have a look. It's because Howard Schultz recognized that the baristas couldn't see the customers behind the tall ones, which meant they couldn't engage, which didn't work for his vision of Starbucks. So the Starbucks machines are actually custom designed for them. Every day, write down at least 3 new problems, and it'll be super easy at the beginning. And it'll take more observation. That's it. Write down 3 problems every day and start creating a problem library. My parents have one of those sitting chairs on a track going up the stairs because my mom had 2 knee operations on the same knee. And it's downright dangerous for her to walk down the stairs. It's ugly? Yes. Would an elevator be nicer? Yes. Takes up 1/3 of the stairs? Yes. She's constantly bitching about how she should be walking up the stairs. But it was a perfect solution for them, for the problem that she had at that exact time, especially since in their house it only has 1 bathroom, and that bathroom is upstairs. Would a downstairs bathroom be nice? Yes, it would. All of those things are viable solutions, but the chair thingy solved the problem. How to get upstairs. Now her problem is it takes 70 seconds and she's damn impatient, and when you have to get to the bathroom, well, let's just say solving problems isn't always pretty. What about the drive-thrus in the pandemic? How many of you recognize the hockey stick type holder they use for the tap pin pads so that they can get it to the driver? No contact, no leaning out the window, and the question early in my mind was, why did no one think about that earlier? For rainy and snowy and icy days, for people who can't reach out. That's it. Sometimes your idea needs to wait for the right time. Because honestly, timing is a big chunk of why certain products and services are ultra successful. But timing plays a lot. Sometimes your idea needs to wait for the right time because the discomfort of the problem is not yet so bad. With my mom's going up the stairs, the discomfort of the problem far exceeded the ugliness of the chair thingy. So how many people do you think had that hockey stick solution at the drive-thrus on their mental problem list? I'm guessing that there were a lot of people. But the one who was paying attention to their list and to the changing world is the one that got out front first and fastest. It was an insight. Paired with drive, it's now 5 days into 2020. What impossible thing are you going after in the next 360 days? Are they moonshots? The 10 times bigger, not just the 10% bigger type? Do you have your problem list keeper ready? Have you planned out the blocks of time where you can think in isolation and in inspiration? Are you ready to fail faster and to fail more often, ready to release something that isn't perfect, that might embarrass you, even though it's still pretty good and gets great results? Can you do that? Can you see yourself mastering the next skill, and in that mastery, you discover a personal reward that far exceeds the typical, if I do this, then I get that trap of external validation? There's a lot here in this podcast episode, and my wish for you is that you take away something today, that you will take the next step, that you build a bias for action in your daily life. Not just collect thoughts, suggestions, ideas. Take action. Hear it, learn it, take action. You already know that your thinking is what drives everything, so we've created a new daily affirmation sent to you every day for 90 days. And it covers personal, mental mastery, business, life, relationships. We've got you totally covered so that you can unlock everyday with intentional. So just sign up for free on our website, Debbie Colburn /Unlock the Day. So the link is in the show notes. So we're here. We're at the end. Time for that question that I ask everyone at the end of each episode. I want you to take your time and give it a little bit of thought. Slightly different this year in 2022. What is the best thing that could happen if you unlock just one of your shackles today? Hey, if this podcast got you thinking, please make sure you're subscribed and share it with anyone who needs to hear this. The link is in the show notes, and please drop us a review on whatever podcast player that you're listening on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, you name it. And make sure that you drop over to our website, debbiecolburn.com /links / that's DEBBIECOLBOURN.com /links / to get our brand new 7-day quick action guide and to check out what's coming up in 2022. And please make sure that you're following us on LinkedIn and on Instagram, just to keep you on your toes, has a slightly different name, at MS Debbie Colburn.